In this video, we will look upon the liability of the taxpayers in the GST regime. As per the GST Act, any person who is supplying goods or services is liable to pay GST. But that is according to the following conditions. According to the threshold limits fixed by the GST Act, in case of any states in India, if such a taxable person is in the states other than northeastern states, he has to pay GST if his aggregate turnover exceeds 20 lakhs. And in case of northeastern states, this limit is 10 lakhs. In case of any person whose aggregate turnover is less than 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs, as the case may be, in such a case he is not liable to pay GST. But he can opt for GST and he can collect tax from his consumers and he can pay that tax to government. It is at his option. In certain cases, these threshold limits will not be applied, like interstate supplies or reverse charge mechanism, where in case of imports the person has to pay GST. So these threshold limits will not be applicable in case where there is an interstate supply or in case of reverse charge mechanism. What do you mean by aggregate turnover with regard to threshold limits? As I told earlier, aggregate turnover means it includes all taxable and non-taxable supplies, exempt supplies and export of goods or services, and it does not include taxes paid, and it excludes GST, that is the tax. And in case of aggregate turnover, the turnover is calculated on all India basis. That is, if a person has operations in several states or across the verticals also, it should be taken for taking aggregate turnover. Let us look upon composition scheme in GST. Composition scheme applies to persons whose aggregate turnover is less than 50 lakhs in a year. And if in case of such a person whose aggregate turnover is less than 50 lakhs, he can opt for composition scheme, by which he has to pay only a certain percentage of tax. That is, normally it is 1% as per the GST Act as of now, and he does not have a right to collect tax from his customers, and he cannot claim input tax credit for any tax paid for input goods or services availed by him. The composition scheme is optional, and this composition scheme cannot be opted by a person who is undertaking interstate supply or under reverse charge mechanism. So hope composition scheme is clear to you. Regarding classification of goods and services, there is a HSN, that is harmonized system of nomenclature, that is adopted across the globe. This HSN should be used to classify the goods according to the GST Act. Taxpayers whose turnover is less than 1.5 crores should not require to mention this HSN code in their invoices. And in case of taxable persons whose aggregate turnover is between 1.5 crores to 5 crores, they can use 2-digit HSN. The taxpayers whose turnover is more than 5 crores should use 4-digit code. HSN is applicable for goods. For services, we use service accounting code. In case of imports, beside customs duty, the additional customs duty etc. will be charged as integrated goods and services tax as per the GST Act. So there will not be any additional duties of customs. It will be transferred, subsumed into integrated goods and services tax. In case of imports, the destination principle will be followed so that the SGST will be collected will be allocated to the state where the goods or services are transferred or consumed. In case of tax paid in respect of imports, full and complete set of input tax credit is available to the taxpayer. Let us look into exports. In case of exports, it will be zero tax. That is, no tax will be charged on any exports from India. And in case of any input tax paid by such an exporter, it will be refunded to such exporter on exporting goods or services. Certain commodities are excluded from the purview of GST. It includes alcohol, petroleum products, petroleum crudes, motor spirit or petrol, high speed diesel, natural gas, aviation turbine fuel and electricity. The existing taxation system, that is VAT or excise duty, will be applicable to such products. Regarding tobacco and tobacco products, still GST will be applicable to them, but the Central Excise Department can charge Central Excise duty on such tobacco or tobacco products. So, hope you have understood the liability of the taxpayer as per the threshold limits or otherwise, and what do you mean by aggregate turnover, and the applicability of GST on imports and exports and exempted goods. Thank you.